Yeah, he's very like, fuck it, like, I'm just gonna live my life. You don't like my PJ pants? Fuck you.
Then fuck you. If you don't chew Big Red, then fuck
Fuck
you. Same thing as last time. Put your lips like right up to it.
Right up to it.
And then we should be good. If you can see it,
Yeah,
then we're good. Okay.
I think I can.
Cool. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Lead to Gold, the podcast devoted to discussing all things growth and wellness. You know how it goes. And quick little spiel. If you like what we do here, feel free to rate, review wherever you're listening, share with a friend. I have a dear friend here today as a guest. And if you listen to my Friendsgiving special, you might recognize her voice.
Hello.
It's Megan. Today we're chatting about, I don't even know, but we're going to get into it. We're chatting about mainly motherhood because Miss Megan is a mama.
Mommy.
To almost a year-old baby boy who's not really a baby anymore, and it's fucking crazy.
Time flies.
I know. It's really weird. And we've known each other for, holy shit, like 15 years? Something like that.
We were like 12 when we knew each other. 11, 12. So yeah,
Yeah,
like
so that
15,
sounds about right.
15,
That's 15 years.
Wow.
I hate that. Like, we've talked about this constantly throughout our friendship, and then I remember it. I'm like, ew.
Ew.
That's disgusting.
I've known you longer than I've known Nick.
I've known you longer than I've known Mikey. Cute. I mean, I know the answer to this, but something that I always like to start off with, take us back roughly 10 years ago.
Oh, God.
What was your life like? What were you like? What was your mental state? Like, who were you 10 years ago?
So 10 years ago, I was 17. So I was probably like a junior in high school.
Mm-hmm.
And I probably had like just met Nick, who's my husband now. And
we went to junior prom 10 years ago.
Yeah, we went to junior prom. I was going through it as a teenager. Definitely by the time that I met Nick, I was like on the tail end of the teenage mental breakdown, because we know that there's
some lore there.
There's a lot of lore there. But there's like teenage mental breakdown and then like the 20s mental breakdown. But I was on the tail end of my teenage mental breakdown, and when I met Nick, good for him.
He survived all of it.
He survived.
He weathered the storms.
The teenage one and the 21. So Medal of Honor to him.
He's awesome. You guys, he's so awesome.
Yeah.
Low-key, he would be a horrible podcaster, though. Do you agree?
100%, yes.
So good thing he's not here, but hi, Nick, if you're listening, we love you.
Yeah, he's with the baby right now. He has the day off of work, so I was like, perfect. I can go have some girl time, and they can have a daddy Sunday.
And we have our nice little LaCroix and rum combo.
Mm-hmm.
It's hitting, because let me tell you, the Virginia summer is no joke. It is like 95 out right now. So we could not be bothered.
No. Yeah, so we got a little rum in us.
But yeah,
question,
so
though, where I was 10 years.
Yeah. So where were you 10 years ago? Like, yeah, tell us a little bit about the, I guess the spiral of like teenagerdom, and also, well, we'll get to this, but I'm curious about like, that was kind of your new relationship, which is now a 10-year relationship. You're married, you have a baby.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that your relationship was going to get to this point? Like, what were your thoughts and vibes at that time, like early relationship?
Oh God. So the funny thing is, Aaron was actually there when I started dating Nick. We'd started dating at like a New Year's party that like a friend was having between our two rival high schools. They had like everybody there, and so we started dating then. And we spent the night at this friend's house and then woke up and we're just sitting there with everyone. And I'm looking over at Nick, who's now my boyfriend of like 12 hours, 6 hours, if you will. And I think to myself, I give it a month.
Oh no. Wait, I kind of remember this.
And I just like wasn't super enthusiastic about it. I was like, you know, I like him. He's really sweet. He plays for the soccer team. I played for the soccer team. So I was like, we have that in common. We'll see. I give it a month. And then I ate my words because here we are 10 years later, married with a baby. So
that's incredible. And like, that early on in the relationship, how quick did it take you all to like become emotionally close?
Did
he know the lore? How long did it take him?
Oh, it took him a while. I feel like, I don't know, I showed my crazy pretty early, I feel. And he stuck around through that. So
that's good.
We do love him.
Yeah, he's a little baby. Baby bean. Sweetie.
I think he was just, if you guys met Nick, he's just so sweet and he doesn't give up on anybody ever. So maybe that's why we're married. He can't say no. But no, it took us, I think, a little bit to get emotionally attached outside. If you're talking deeper than like the infatuation of teenage love, then yes, it took us like 4 or 5 years to get there. Probably about the time that we got engaged, we were like at a point like, yes, we're very emotionally connected. Like this is the person. And that again was 5 years into our relationship.
Yeah. Oh my God. Even that is crazy to think about though. Just like,
yeah,
it takes a lot of time. I think it's like there's steps to it. Cause it's like, you think you're in love. You think you're like in the thick of it. And then something happens where you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now this is different. Like,
yeah,
we've been through some shit now.
Oh, we had our fair share. In high school when we were dating, an ex of mine actually was, I mean, you know the story.
I know the story, but
he was, I don't know, how do I put it? Like in a way that's not like triggering for some people, but I guess there's no way to put it. Like it was horrific. One of my ex-boyfriends was killed by the police. And so we went through that together. I wasn't dating him at the time. I was dating Nick at the time of his death, or at the time of my ex's death.
And that was pretty early in the relationship.
That was only like 4 months in. Like we started dating in January and my ex died in like that May. So that was rough because I went through all those feelings of, you know, being a teenager, heightened emotions, but then also like I haven't talked to this guy in like 2 years really, but like I still care for him. And now I have to, you know, see our friends, and I felt like I didn't have a right to cry over it.
Yeah.
And so that was fun for Nick to be around for.
Yeah. No, like that's some heavy shit, you know?
Yeah, correct. And then, you know, we went through our other fair share of shit throughout
but here we are.
Rocky roads.
I feel like if you don't have a little bit of that, then it's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
How do you really get to where you are now, which is like, as far as I'm concerned, happy as hell and just like healthy and good and stable and like killing it as parents, you know?
Yeah, you really have to go through hell with each other to like understand how the other one operates. In college, like junior year of college, so this is what, like 4 years later after we started dating, I kind of hit him with the conversation of like, hey, what are we doing here? And he's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, I want to be married at some point and have kids. Like that's my goal in life, is to have a family. And if that's not what you want, I need to know now, because I'm 21 and I would like to continue to date or see other people that share the same value and goal. And he was like, well, I don't really want a family, because you know men, like
yeah. And especially I mean, again, it's like kind of at that age, I shouldn't even say at that age, but it's like when you hit them with it, like you said, it really is. And I think this is like honestly a stark difference maybe this is me stereotyping, but like between men and women, it's like men get hit with that. Women think about it for like their entire lives. So to us, it's not a hard conversation, but to them, they're like, what? Wait, what? Like, because the exact same thing has happened with my relationship.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And the same thing happened with my younger brother's relationship, where his girlfriend was kind of like, I want to know what's up. And he was like, what? Oh my God. And so
we're just vibing.
I know, we're just vibing. And Nick, I don't know if like Mikey thought this way. I know my brother thought this way as well, of like, I want that, but not right now.
Yes.
And I'm like, where in this conversation am I saying right this minute?
Right. Yeah.
I'm not saying get me pregnant right now.
It's just
put
like
a ring on my finger right now.
Yeah. It's just like, I need to know that is what you want eventually.
Correct.
And
like,
I think that freaks a lot of dudes out. Yeah. I don't know.
Because I think it forces them to really look at the future. And I feel, again, it's another generalization, but I feel like a lot of men just focus on the now. Like they can't focus beyond the present, which honestly, I wish,
dude. I wish. God.
It must be nice.
But okay, so let's like talk about the present, just kind of for, you know, for listeners, for people who don't know you, like what is your life now with Nick, with Noah, her sweet little baby?
My baby.
Like, what is life like? Take us through a day, take us through like the good, the bad, maybe the unexpected.
Oh, wow. Well, life, I feel, is very like, I don't want to say plain, because, you know, life with a baby is not plain, but plain.
Do you know the I don't know what to call it, like the TikTok sound that's like from SpongeBob? Of course you know it, because we always quote SpongeBob, like, coming to bed, honey?
Yeah,
yes, dear.
That's literally exactly. It's very monotonous sounds bad, but in the sense of what we do day to day is monotonous. We wake up, he goes to work, I stay home, I take care of Noah, he comes home, we are family. And that's basically like in a gist how it goes. But he's a great partner to have. I don't really know how to expand on that. Yeah,
I guess just like for people who maybe aren't mothers, who are curious about it. I mean, we'll definitely get into all the like details of this, but is it maybe like what you expected?
That's a good question. I think yes and no. Yes, it is what I expected, because I have experience taking care of kids. I know how much work it takes and all of that. But also no, because I felt like I would be able to do it a lot easier than I'm doing.
Okay.
And not that it's like super hard for me, but at the same time, like I felt like it would be simpler, if that makes sense.
Totally. And we can talk about the reasons for that. And actually that brings me to the next question really well, because it's like, from my perspective, you completely, like, absolutely fucking rocked your pregnancy. You had no issues. And this is an outsider's perspective. You had no issues. Like, childbirth sounded really easy for you, and like your postpartum to me just seemed like you were breezing through it. You were good. I know you were tired, but I'm like, obviously who's not tired? I guess just like in my eyes, you made it look easy.
And thank you.
Yeah, no, it's so true. And I was like, everybody that like asked about you, like my mom and everybody that like knew about it on my end of things, I was like, she's killing it. And you totally did. Yeah, but
I feel that.
But what was really hard that somebody like I wouldn't have necessarily seen?
So yeah, pregnancy was easy for me. I did not have like any symptoms other than a growing baby in my belly.
Incredible.
I was blessed beyond belief to have an easy pregnancy. And even so, like, I was pregnant in the middle of the summer, the dead heat like this. The heat didn't bother me, like nothing. And I said, wow, if this is pregnancy, I can do this every year. Like, just sign me up.
Like, keep giving me some babies.
Let's keep going. And birth went well. Like, no complications. They actually in the hospital called me their perfect patient.
Oh my God, we love that.
If you can't tell, I love words of affirmation. And I was an overachiever in school, so the fact that they gave me an A+ at the hospital just was like, thanks I was like, thank you so much. Yeah, that part was fine. It got hard, obviously, once the baby was there.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, shit. I gotta take care of you and feed you. And I will say the hardest thing ever is breastfeeding.
Mm-hmm.
And props to moms who can do it for like 2 years. I did it for 3 months before I was ready to just do bad things to myself.
Yeah.
So breastfeeding, I think, was the one thing that gave me the most trouble.
It's such a, I don't even want to say standard, but like an expectation almost that you are, if you're a good mother, if you're going to like do things properly, then you need to breastfeed your child.
Oh,
like
yeah.
if you want them to have like that most healthy upbringing, I know you've seen all the shit, but like breastfeeding is a non-negotiable for so many people. So obviously I know because I know you, life was infinitely better post breastfeeding journey, but knowing that is an expectation, and I'm air quoting, but you're like, I can't fucking do this. What was the toll on you?
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So knowing that it was an I went in wanting to breastfeed. So I
think most people, because I totally do too. I'm like,
right.
I'm gonna do it.
Right.
You know?
And I will say everything I say now and then turn around and be like, next baby, I'm going to freaking kill breastfeeding. And it's probably going to do the same shit to me.
Yeah.
But so I went in wanting to breastfeed, and I have a hormonal disorder called polycystic ovarian syndrome, or PCOS, as I might refer to it a couple times, where it can be hard. It's hard for me to mainly get pregnant. So I got through that hurdle. But then like post baby, it can be hard for my breast milk to come in based on hormones and all of that.
Yeah.
And so knowing that, I was already stressed about producing. And if any of you have had a baby before, or you know how it works, like they say, stay away from stress when you're breastfeeding.
Oh my God, shut the fuck up.
Because stress will affect everything. And it does. So, and if you don't know anything about PCOS, like a main hormone that you hang on to is fucking cortisol, which is the stress hormone. So yes, that's how it can affect breastfeeding. And so my milk took about like 3 days to come in, 3-4 days, which is average. Some people get it earlier, some people don't. But it was stressful because I wasn't producing enough even at that time to feed him solely on my breast milk. I had to buy some donor breast milk before I left the hospital.
Oh, yeah.
So I could feed him. And then...
So that was already like building on the stress that
Correct.
you're supposed to not have.
Yeah. And then on top of that, you're supposed to breastfeed the baby every 2 to 3 hours. For my son, it was every 2 hours because he's a hungry boy. So I... was feeding him every 2 hours, feeding him what I could, but he wasn't getting enough, so he was getting hungrier sooner. And so it builds on, because then your body isn't your body, and then like your husband can't do anything,
right.
or your partner, whichever, he can't do anything. He's like, here's the baby, he's hungry, you're the one that can feed him. And then it's like you don't get a moment to just chill.
Right. And
then by the time that you're done doing what you're doing, you have like 20 minutes before you have to go back into that whole cycle again.
Oh my God. So that's like literally your entire day.
Correct.
You know, and then you also feel like you're failing at it. Yeah.
And in the sense of like succeeding or failing as far as feeding your child, I was failing. Like I wasn't producing enough. I wasn't feeding him adequately enough with just my breast milk. So luckily, I had a really good friend of mine who had her baby like a year or so before I had my baby, and she had a ton of breast milk in her freezer, and she had offered when I was pregnant that if I wanted any, that I could take some. And so I texted her, because at this point, I'm still very much like, you need to breastfeed, you need to give him breast milk. That's in my head. So I was like, hey, can I take you up on your offer for breast milk? Like my milk hasn't come in. I'm not producing a whole lot right now. And so she's like, sure, take the whole freezer. So, oh my God. Because she was like, my son doesn't like the frozen stuff. So just take the whole freezer.
Lifesaver.
Oh my God, I owe everything to her those first couple weeks of like trying to just get my milk on track. And so we were feeding him some of my milk, some of my friend's milk. And trust me, I know her lifestyle, and I was okay with feeding my son her milk. I know some people are probably like, "Oh, that's gross." I'm like,
oh my
sure,
God.
if you get it from some rando off the street.
Yeah, well, we'll get into that too, because there's a lot of stupid ass expectations out there.
Yes.
But I'm really glad that you had that, because
oh my God, me too.
I just can't even imagine just and I feel like hanging out with you during that time, I could kind of sense to a degree, I'm like, yeah, this is really stressing you out, and you know, it's not worth.
Yeah, because we had a weekend
it's not
together
worth having that
toward the end of my breastfeeding journey. I think like literally the next
stopped
weekend,
like a week after. Yeah.
I was like, no.
Oh my God. No, I mean, and it was rough. It was like we were at the Renaissance Fair, for a little context. Super fun day. Still like, oh my God, dude, I had such a fun time, and we need to do it again. But yeah, I remember it was like we kind of had to like pull over.
I know.
You had to pump.
Yeah.
All that. And it was like, I mean, it was still great, but you know, that's a lot of work for something that's supposed to be fun. And then when you're not getting enough milk and you're like beating yourself up over it, and it's just like, it's not fun.
And I couldn't drink a whole lot.
Yeah, you couldn't drink.
I didn't want my breast milk to have alcohol in it. And
yeah. It was a lot. But
yeah.
Okay, so just since we're kind of like edging into this part of the conversation, because I know this is a big thing you wanted to talk about, is like quote unquote social media motherhood. That's what I'm calling it. And I know that it is common discourse, and everybody knows that you should just shut the fuck up and let the mother do what she thinks is best. Like, everybody says this, everybody knows this, but yet people still want to comment, give their opinion, give their unsolicited advice. So what are your thoughts? What are your experiences with this? I want to like air it out.
Oh
like,
gosh.
I want to hear your biggest rants, like some shitty advice you've seen, comments you've gotten. I want to know.
Oh my gosh, I could be so tangential throughout this whole thing.
Let's go. I want stories.
Yeah, so it's like the algorithms, the moment I was pregnant, and obviously like you text anything or look up anything about pregnancy, you get like all of the shit about pregnancy. And so for a while I was getting like, oh, if you're pregnant, like avoid these foods or avoid that food, or avoid this drink, don't drink that, drink this, do that. And I was like, Jesus, so what should I do? Like, what vitamins should I take? Like, can I eat deli meat? Can I do this? Like, and it's just crazy. All of the things that you're told to do and don't during pregnancy. And then if you're not taking this vitamin, then you must not care about your baby, because your baby's not going to have this, or like, this is linked to autism, and don't take this. Like, they say don't take Tylenol when you're pregnant because it could be linked to like autism, which I don't know. I never read the study because I was pregnant when that was coming out.
Right.
So I was like, I'm not going to like overload myself with this information. And not that a child with autism is anything to be worried or scared of, but obviously, you know, the mainstream try to avoid anything that could
harm your child, whatever.
Or
yeah.
Not even considering autism harmful, but you know what I mean. So yeah, there's just like all that crazy shit when you're pregnant. And then it's like the algorithms again. And right when I was about to give birth, I started to get a lot of like crazy stuff, little trigger warning about infant death and like stillborns and just like all the crazy birth stories that can happen when you're giving birth. And so I was like, holy shit, like I didn't realize like all the crazy stuff that can happen. I was just living my life, enjoying my pregnancy, and here I am, like everything's good with the baby. We got him tested, he's fine. And then like but wait, there's more. Like anything can still happen even though you're like 100% fine. And I've heard of those stories too. Like a family friend of ours, her niece was giving birth to a very normal in quotes, because what is normal nowadays, but like a very average healthy baby. And the doctor left the baby in the birth canal just a little too long, and he was low on oxygen, and he is severely disabled now. So she won a lawsuit for that. Hey. But like, it's just the crazy things like that can happen that you don't even think about, and that social media is jamming down your throat like, oh, that can happen.
Yeah.
And then I had to clear my cache on that. I cleared my caches because I was like, I don't want to see these. And on TikTok, you can go in and like block certain keywords. Yeah. So I went and blocked anything about pregnancy loss. I was like, I don't want to see this.
Yeah, that's good. That's great.
But I was one of those women that like was realizing I was getting fed this stuff and was like, okay, I don't want to see this, and changed my algorithm. I feel like some people don't do that, and they just kind of
just like get stuck in it and
get stuck in the anxiety of all of it. Because again, being anxious while you're pregnant is not good for the baby.
Yep. And it's like, okay, so I'm curious too, because I get content like this all the time of, I don't want to say specifically like trad wives. Do you know what that is?
I have an idea, but
like traditional housewives that are like, this is how you should be parenting. This is how you should be caring for your kids. Like, so now that you have Noah, I'm curious if you ever see anything like that pop up anywhere where it's just like, this is what I do, and I don't judge other mothers, but this is what I do. You know, it's like there's still this air of superiority that just kind of, I'm curious 100%. If you see that.
You're always going to have that. From the moment you conceive your child in your uterus, like, you're going to have that. Like, you can do what you want. I'm not going to judge you, honey, but... And you know that there is judgment behind it, because I suck and have found myself doing that. When I see people do certain things online with their kids, I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
Right.
But then again,
even I've said that. Yeah.
Sometimes I'm like, but that's warranted though. Like when you talk about like placement of a car seat strap, like that shit's important. Like they tell you all the time how to put a car seat strap on a child, and if you don't do it the right way, it doesn't work as well. Yeah. You want your car seat to work. You pay a fuck ton of money for it. So it's mostly stuff like that I've been like, what the fuck are you doing? Everything else I've been like,
to each their own.
Yeah, to each their own.
Yeah. That's good. I mean, I feel like you have a really healthy handle on it, because I'm not even a mother yet. I'm still years out from that part of my life, if at all. And even already I'm just like, damn, y'all are judgmental out here.
It goes back to my friend. She was so helpful, especially, honestly, just shouts out to Ashley. Love that bitch. We're ride or dies when it comes to motherhood, because when I was going through the throes of newborn, she was going through the throes of like new toddler. So we were both just kind of like venting back and forth and just like reassuring each other, you know, this too shall pass. You're a good mom. Like, just do what you need to do to get through it.
I love that.
And so she was telling me, she's like, yes, I was there. I had the same thought. Maybe I'm just anxious. And I'm like, hey, maybe we're just anxious together.
Megan's gonna be my Ashley.
100%. I will be anybody's Ashley. 100%. I will be anybody's Ashley, because motherhood is hard.
Yeah.
And I actually reached out to a girl that we went to high school with, or I went to high school with, who her mom is like best friends with Nick's mom. So she had a newborn, and I heard like through the grapevine that she like wasn't doing too well. So I reached out to her and was like, hey, just checking on you. Like, I heard that you were, you know, not doing too great. And we got to talking, and I helped her feel better about certain things, because she wasn't having a great experience with breastfeeding either. So I was like, hey, been there, done that. It's okay to cry. Like, you will cry. I think I did more crying in those first 3 months than any time in my entire life.
Yeah. Yeah. So like, it's just exhausting.
Fully. Yeah, well, yeah.
And I don't even know, but I know, but I don't know, you know.
There was I hate this, but there was a time when I was a teenager where, like, I was talking to my dad.
I don't know who that was.
I don't know who that was either. I was talking to my dad about being tired, And he goes, tired? You don't even have kids. You don't know what tired is. And when I was a teenager, I, scoffed.
Like, shut up.
Shut up, Dad. Rolled my eyes and was like, I know what tired is in my teenage self. And then I had a child. And it was actually recently I looked at my dad and I said, Dad, when I was in high school, you said this to me. And I laughed and thought it was dumb. But, you're actually kind of right.
You right.
I was like, you really don't know what tired is until you have kids. Yeah. And then you're like, oh, my tired days with no children are nothing compared to my tired days with a child.
But
here you are.
Which is like inspiring and also terrifying at the same time for a childless person like me.
Well, yes, I mean,
it's like you build a threshold for it.
I was gonna say, everything you get used to it, and then nowadays my tired days are comparable.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just you have to do a little bit. It's the same as work because you work with kids.
Yeah.
High schoolers, but they can still be just as tiring.
Oh my God.
So it's the same as not sleeping well, waking up, going to work all day, and then coming home. The only difference between you and I is you have the ability to relax without somebody needing something from you.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I don't, unless Nicholas takes over, which he does for the most part.
And we love him for that.
We love him for that.
So you were getting to, kind of your position in helping other mothers, new mothers, whatever. And I'm curious what, on the other hand, some good advice that you've received or that you've picked up on that you would want to offer any other moms or mothers to be, what would be some things that potentially you didn't know going into it that now you're like, this is really important to know, and or good reminders?
I think going into motherhood, I wanted to do all of these things. I wanted nobody to kiss the baby, which you still should do. Mm-hmm. I highly encourage that at least for until they get their shots at 2 months. For the first 8 weeks of their life, nobody kiss him. I kissed him though because I'm like, he came out of my body.
Yeah, you're mama, so it's fine.
He came out of my body. If he's gonna get any, he has everything that I have, and he's drinking my breast milk at this point.
He'll be fine.
So I kiss him, but yes, don't let anybody kiss him. And if you really can't fight everybody every time, have them kiss just the top of his head, because that's not top of their head. That's not gonna do much. No kissing on the face, no kissing near the mouth, or on the mouth for that matter. I don't even kiss my son on the mouth.
Yeah, that's weird.
That I judge on a little bit. If you kiss your children on the mouth, sorry, that's a little weird to me. But you do you. No judgment here.
I'm just reminding you all what I do.
I don't kiss my kids on the mouth, but I see, that's the things that I could do kind of judge on. But my biggest piece of advice for new moms or new parents is kind of learn to let go of certain expectations that you had for yourself or for being a parent. Mm-hmm. The time that you spend caring about certain things could be so much more productive doing something else, not caring.
Love that.
I cared so much, especially when we started to get Noah into a nap routine. I cared so much about how long he slept and making sure that he was getting his naps in a day. And everyone's saying establish a sleep routine. It'll help them through the night. Make sure you do this. Make sure you do that. And I was like, hey, we got to stick to this nap routine. And Nick and I were even logging it on our phones, with this app. And the app was great. But the moment I was like, you know what? I'm actually getting more anxious logging his naps and worrying about whether he's sleeping. It's eating up my whole day. I can't enjoy any time with my son because I'm worried about him sleeping.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, you know what? We're not going to log your naps anymore. You want to sleep 30 minutes? Fine. You'll be tired. Fine. I don't care.
Yeah. So just sleep when you're tired.
Exactly. Well, it's hard for a baby, but at the same time, I was like, he was going through periods where he was waking up every 30 minutes. Like, I'd put him down, he wouldn't sleep longer than 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what is going on? Like, I have a routine. I'm doing all these things right. I'm doing everything that they say to do, and it's not working. So then I was like, whatever.
What do you do?
Whatever. I'm like, you're going to sleep 30 minutes. I'll try to put him back down. If after 10, 15 minutes he wasn't going back to sleep, we'd get up.
Yeah.
Just go about our day.
Yeah.
And that served me so much better than logging his naps.
Yeah, or like trying to force it.
Totally
makes sense.
So yes, letting go of certain things and realizing, like, just like in order to be a parent, it's the whole thing of like, again, here we are, tangential. I can't even like form a coherent thought because there's so many things.
Yeah, I believe it.
But like, in order to be the parent that you want to be, you kind of have to learn to take care of yourself before you take care of your kid, which is what they say. Make sure you put the mask, like the oxygen mask, on your face before you help anybody else in an airplane. Mm-hmm. Because if you don't help yourself, how are you going to help your kid? Not saying that if you're tired and your kid's screaming to just sleep first and then go help your kid. But I'm saying, like, learn what doesn't serve you about your kid's routine or anything else, and then adjust it to fit your needs. Yeah. Because it's a very old way of thinking, but I think a lot of new parents have their kids control them. Mm-hmm. And so Nick and I are very much leaning into this whole thing of like, we had our lives, you came into it, so yeah, you'll fit into it. Yeah. In ways that you can.
I think that's really important.
Which is a very old way of thinking.
It is, but it's also like, it makes a lot of sense because, I don't know, I think there is such a, at least again, kind of on my side of the internet and the things that I get fed, I feel like that is such a prominent way of thinking that it's like, once you have kids, it goes with so many things. Once you get married, once you have kids, your life is going to change forever. You are fundamentally going to change forever. And it's like, to a degree, sure, but why? Like, I don't think that's necessary.
No. You definitely change, like, to a degree.
Of course.
I enjoy things a lot more. Like, enjoy the smaller things amazing. A lot more. Because I'm like, wow. Like, my favorite thing is just when Noah is chilling in the bed with us on, like, a Sunday morning or a Saturday morning. And
that makes me emotional.
Yeah. Because it's so fun. Like, we're just all laying there, hanging out. Or, like, the joy you get just watching your partner with your child. Mm-hmm. Like, you're like, wow. Like, again, for Father's Day, I posted, like,
oh my God, I also got emotional at that. The Father's Day post, you guys, insane.
It's just one of those things where it's like, I knew Nick would be a great dad, but then it's just watching your partner become a dad, and like, it heals. I know this will probably go into some point later on in the podcast of like, it heals your inner child. Yep. And like, I'm able to do everything. I'm able to be the mother that I needed. Which, that's a whole can of worms.
Yeah. I mean, we can go there. Do we want to go there?
Do we want to go there?
We talked about going there.
We did.
I actually didn't write it down, but like, if that feels like a good segue, I think let's talk about it, because it's something that I can't really speak to yet because I am not a parent, but it's really interesting to think about what you experienced that you don't want your kids to experience.
100%, yeah.
And it's like, how, in your experience now, I mean, I know Noah's still a baby, so he's not quite like talking yet.
Right.
You know, you don't have that exact line of communication with him yet, but like, what are some of the things that you're trying to do for him that you maybe didn't get? Or maybe that you, I don't know. Yeah. We'll start with that.
Yeah. I mean, even though he can't like talk or communicate, there's still like the very basic foundation of just like, there's my mom. If I need her, she'll be there, kind of thing. A background on me, I grew up honestly pretty privileged in, you know, a really nice home that my parents were able to finance for us. But we were on the spectrum of, I don't want to say neglect because neglect sounds so harsh, but essentially that's what it was. My parents worked all the time. My dad was, what's the word? Self-employed. He had his own business and he was working all the time with that. And then my mom worked from home, but she was always in her office working. And we had au pairs. So we were cared for, but we didn't get like these emotional needs from my parents.
Yeah, it wasn't, you were cared for, but not by your parents.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a lot of things happen when I was younger that made my parents not able to be there for us emotionally. We had a lot of deaths in our family, so they had to kind of take care of their stuff before they could take care of us, which is understood. Just like I mentioned before, you have to take care of yourself before you can take care of your kids.
Mm-hmm.
But because of that, my brothers and I learned to either get through it by ourselves or take care of each other.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like how we grew up. Like anything
Yeah.
that we came into was, okay, I got to figure this out.
Yeah, it's on you.
It's on me. And even for like the small things like applying to college, it was on me to figure out.
Mm-hmm.
Like my mom wasn't going to help me. My dad wasn't going to help me. If I asked them, like a common phrase I got from my mom was, I don't know, Megan, figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
So, especially the FAFSA. Like I was freaking 17, 18 years old trying to figure out this government document with like putting in this IRS numbers. And I'm like, Mom, I don't understand this. She goes, I don't know, Megan, figure it out. I've never done it before.
Oh my gosh.
So,
And that's like, I mean, we have a lot of similarities, I think, in our upbringing, but even that is one where I'm like, I cannot imagine filling out a FAFSA on my own at that age. Like,
oh my
you're
God,
joking.
I'm a professional now because once I got into college, like, and my mom and dad had to do like the Parent Plus loan and stuff, like I was the one telling them how to fill it out because I had to go figure it out. And because my parents were all about like, okay, you have this issue that I have to help you with. How can we help you with it quickly so I can get back to what I need to do?
Mm-hmm.
So it was, and I want to caveat, my parents are great parents.
They were doing the best they could with what they had at the time.
Correct. They were doing the best because I'm making them sound like the villain and they're really not.
I feel like as we get older too, and this is just a side note, but like conversations that I've had with you and with other people, it's like you really do kind of just come to that conclusion where it's like they were doing the best they could with what they had at the time. They are Gen X. I know that that's kind of a stereotype in and of itself, but like there really is something there with just like teaching your kids hyper independence in a way.
Yeah.
Because while I wasn't left to my own devices to like fill out forms, you know, things like that, I was left to my own devices to feed myself, care for my brother,
correct,
buy my own shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like there were other, like I was just left alone a lot.
Yes.
You know, so it's like there's similarities to that. And I think a lot of people our age, the Zillennial generation, can kind of attest to that.
Yeah. And to an extent, I feel the hyper independence has really served me well throughout life. I've never really leaned on anybody to get stuff done or get accomplished what I want to accomplish. But what I will say about that is it's led to a multitude of just issues that I've had to kind of work through, especially as a parent. Like I don't know how to ask for help.
Oh my God, I was literally going to ask you if you felt like you had trouble asking for help.
Always. I have the biggest time with guilt in my life because Nick will get up to do something, and I love my mom, but she also had like narcissistic tendencies when I was little. So I very much had to know, and my dad was bipolar or is bipolar. So I very much had to read how my parents were emotionally because my dad was finally diagnosed and medicated properly when I was in like late elementary, early middle school. So right about the time I was meeting you. But so I was growing up in a home where I had to figure out how everybody felt before I said anything.
Yeah.
And
yeah, that's
so
true.
I feel like I misread a lot of situations with Nicholas because of that, because like he'll get up to do something, and if he just sighs while he gets up, could just be like he needed to sigh. Like he could be like, okay, well, time to go do that. Where you know, there's no malintent behind it, but me sitting there knowing full well that I could get up and do the task as well. If he sighs and then gets up to do it, I'm immediately like, oh my God, he's pissed.
Yes.
He's so mad. Like, you're a piece of shit. Just get up and go do the task so he doesn't have to. Like, he works all day. What do? You sit at home. Like, you can get up and go do that.
You were speaking my fucking language right now.
But then I'm like, you take care of a baby all day. That's working. That's hard. You know?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just carry a lot of guilt in my life.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is something we've uncovered in our friendship, but like, same. So it's probably why we're still so close, because we've got a lot of, you know, like togetherness on that. But yeah, I mean, it's, God, I can only imagine just with the life that you now live, like guilt stems from more than just what your parents do for you or what other people do for you. It's like now, you know, it's your role as a caretaker, which is crazy. This is just like another layer.
Yeah, the biggest guilt comes from not only just like taking care of Noah, but like we learned in those first 3 months of having Noah that, well, we already knew this. I am one of those people that needs hella sleep. I need like 8 to 10 hours minimum.
That's a whole other tangent I could get on. Side note, I think there actually are studies coming out now that are saying that like women need more sleep than men, which is just something that we didn't grow up knowing.
No,
makes a lot of fucking sense. But like, you know, the whole health system is built on white men, so how could we know? You know,
love the patriarchy.
We love it.
Just kidding. But yeah, so I'm one of those people that needs like 8 to 10 hours minimum. You let me go, I could go longer. So the first 3 months were very difficult when I had to like get up every 2 hours, 3 hours, pump. I was a mess because I don't know about you. When I don't get my sleep, I just cry. Like same. I can't function. Like the smallest thing, like I could just be watching a TV show, nothing's happening. Like it's a freaking Comedy Central, like SNL, and I'll just start crying. Yeah. And everyone's like, "What's wrong?" I'm like, I'm just tired. I'm just tired. And another symptom of PCOS is fatigue. So like not only do I need extra sleep, but I have the fatigue built on from my hormonal condition on top of, you know, sleep deprivation from having a baby. So August through like early November was really rough. And so during that time, Nick and I decided, all right, I need more sleep. So why don't this was after breastfeeding. Once I decided, you know, screw it, we're going to switch to formula. We'll feed him the rest of my breast milk. We'll switch to formula because it's not serving us. Yeah. Like I'm just tired, crying all the time. And
I'm a fucking mess.
Nick had gone back to work at this point. So we were like, something's got to give. And I'm not producing enough. And it got to the point where I turned on the pump and was crying. And Nick was like, I don't care what you say. You are not pumping anymore. He's like, you're crying. You're not supposed to do that. And I'm like, fair.
Yeah. It's like you kind of need that like coming to Jesus moment after a while. Because it feels, I'm imagining it like it feels like your duty to do this a certain way. And then you don't even recognize in the thick of it your own emotional mental reaction to it.
Right. Yeah, because
you're like, this is my life now.
You're like, everybody, like all my friends at this point had babies and breastfed, and I hadn't heard of any of them struggling. So I'm like, all of my friends can figure this out. Maybe if I just stick through it, it'll finally click. Yeah, we're 3 months in, it's not clicking yet. And then
not enough.
but then they say like, you know, if you Google anything, which is never a good idea, but they say like, oh, just wait, like the 12-week or 3-month slump hits with breast milk, you'll start to produce less as your hormones even out and your supply evens out. And I'm like, okay, well, it's not happening. Like I've been nothing more than like 3-4 ounces of pump is coming per boob. Sorry, I don't know what the word is. And they're like, oh, people typically get this much or that much. And I was just focusing too much on numbers. And as we mentioned with the whole nap thing, me documenting numbers, it's just not, and me not overachiever in me, I wasn't succeeding.
Yeah.
And so
You're not hitting the numbers.
I was not hitting the numbers, and it just wasn't working. So we decided to switch Noah to formula, and it has been the best thing ever. Yeah. His belly's fed. Mommy gets some sleep, because through that, back to my original point, we decided that Nicholas would get up with Noah and feed him throughout the night so I could sleep, and then during the night, and then take care of Noah during the day. So
incredible. But
there's hella guilt with that, because I'm like, he gets up and goes to work, and like I technically could sleep when Noah sleeps. Mm-hmm. So like, why don't I get up throughout the night and take care of the baby?
Yeah. Oh man, it's like, it just goes so deep, because it's like, when you explain it, you know, it makes complete sense why you have that system. But then your brain, because I know we have similar brains working in similar ways, it's like your brain's going to be like, wait, but I could be doing better.
Yeah.
When could we not be doing better? Because we're women and we're overachievers.
Oh, but then there's like, you know, the whole mother bullshit that comes into play, where his mom knows that that's what we do, and that's like, he gets up, I sleep, and she's made some comments about it in indirect ways, but I know her well enough to know that she's making a stab at me for not getting up, and I keep telling Nick that, and he's very much of like, you know, my mom's just gonna talk, she always does, just let it go. But this is another like conversation that we've had throughout our relationship. I'm like, you need to start picking up on these things and standing up for me, because I'm an independent bitch, as we learned, but I can only take so much before I'm tired of, you know, doing it for myself.
Yes. And I think that's part of like the lesson learned, just to go all the way back to the things that we pick up from our own childhoods and like our own upbringings. Is something I feel immense guilt for, is I feel like I ask Mikey for too much, you know, but this is exactly the same thing, where it's like, maybe you probably feel the expectation of like, maybe I should just stick up for myself, but at the end of the day, it's like, no, that's his mother.
Correct.
You know,
it's his mother, his family.
Yeah. And we love Nick. He's an amazing person. We love him.
Yes, but
it's hard. This is mother. It's hard, I imagine.
But so the thing you all need to know about Nicholas, and I tell him this all the time, so if he listens to this, he can't get mad, is he lacks empathy and sympathy so bad. He's a
dude. He's a dude.
He's like the dudiest dude ever, though. Like,
that's why him and Mikey get along.
Yeah, fair. Because if he has not felt the same exact way that you have in an exact same situation, then he will not understand nor be willing to really do anything about it. Because he's like, I don't know why you're upset.
Yeah. Well, this is kind of a tangent, but something that I actually listened to on a podcast recently, I don't know how much truth there is to this. I guess it's just kind of a theory, but it's like the nervous system of dudes, like straight men, is just like so thick that it's like you have to spell it out for a lot of them.
100%.
And it's like, yeah, I don't know how scientifically true that is, but like in lived experience,
it feels real.
100%.
It feels pretty scientifically
100%. And like we love dudes, obviously, but
yeah,
it's just a thing, you know.
I mean, Nick is getting better. I tell him that all the time, like I said. So he's gotten to the point where he's like, okay, well, what do you need me to do about it? Or like, how can I help? So he's getting better, but damn, there's been times where I'm like,
it's a learning curve.
Yeah. But Nicholas, like, it's the same thing, like, with his mom. Like, his mom says stuff. And for the most part, I've gotten to the point where I just don't really care what she thinks about me anymore, because I'm married to her son and I have her grandson. So if she wants to keep seeing her grandson, she'll be nice.
Girl math.
Girl math. So he's a lot better of basically telling his mom to fuck off in nice ways. We both are.
You got to do it.
You got to do it.
And okay, so this kind of just brings me to another thing that I wanted to ask you about, which is speaking on, you know, the things that work for you and like help you stay sane. What are some things that you do in motherhood now that like help you get back to yourself? Because it's like, I don't know if you really experience this much, but I feel like such a big discourse that I see about like being a new mother or a newish mother is that like you're not really your own person anymore. So like what helps you to feel like yourself?
Well, it's kind of going off of like the thing that you said way at the very, very beginning of this, of like, I feel like you handled postpartum super well. And that goes back to two people, Ashley and Nick. Without those two people, I would have been an insane mess. Because Nick he had paternity leave, so he was off for the first 6 weeks. So the first 6 weeks was like a honeymoon period because there was the two of us taking care of the baby, and we ended up getting a system down, even though breastfeeding was still very stressful. He was washing the pump parts because I was breastfeeding, but I was more so pumping than putting the baby to breast in the traditional breastfeeding sense, because it just wasn't work. I'm not going to go into the whole anatomy of my boobs for you, but
wasn't working.
It just wasn't working. So I was pumping, but Nick was washing the pump parts, and we had a good schedule, washing the bottles, changing the diaper, the baby going out, getting out and about. We had like a little thing with each other that we would try to get out like once a day if we could.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
So we'd get out of the house, and it didn't have to be anything crazy, just like go for a walk or make a Target run or something.
That's great.
Like Noah was like 3 days old when he went to Target. So
love.
I know, right? So we were just like, just get out of the house in a way and get our minds off of it. So that was really helpful. But when he went back to work, I would say it took me a while to kind of figure out what I needed to do for myself to feel like myself. Because once I stopped breastfeeding, the whole like, a lot of women complain about like, my body's not my body because they're breastfeeding, and they're basically at the mercy of their kid, of, like when their kid's hungry. But I didn't have that, but I was still like tired, and I don't know what to do with this baby all day long because he didn't really do anything. He just kind of laid there. So,
but you still feel like you have, I mean, obviously you have to be there.
Correct. So I had like a little like routine. It's changed since then, but I had like a little routine. He would wake up kind of early, so I'd be up and I'd watch Good Morning America.
Love.
Right after Good Morning America, I'd watch Kelly and Mark. And then right after Kelly and Mark, I'd watch Dr. Phil. And then after that, Nick would be home. And so it was like that while Noah was pretty like not mobile, and not like when his wake windows were smaller, because babies, all they do is really sleep, eat, and shit.
Yep.
And so that's what I did. I did watch like Gilmore Girls at the beginning until I got like my routine down. But that was my routine for the longest time. And then we moved into our new place, and I was like, okay, I need a better routine. I still kept my Good Morning America. I still keep my Good Morning America.
That's fine. You got to do something, like, get your day started.
But I'm trying to be better about like waking up and just taking care of myself. So even if Noah wakes me up because he's crying, as long as he's not like blood curdling screaming, I leave him. I'm like, you can cry for 10 minutes. Like, you're going to be okay. You need to learn that you'll be okay.
Yeah.
And I'm going to come in. I'm going to get you. Don't worry. So most of the time he's fine. He's just sitting in there chilling. But I will wake up and, brush my teeth, wash my face, put my contacts in, make my bed, open my windows, and just kind of like, okay, get your day started. That reset.
Yeah.
And then I go in, I get him, I change him, and then we go and watch our Good Morning America.
Love.
Our Kelly and Mark. And then especially when Nick comes home, I try to like, he gets home and then he'll change or whatever, and then I try to have him take Noah so that way I can go like just sit anywhere for like 30 minutes.
Like decompress.
Just decompressing. And I am trying to add a workout when Noah is napping, that's hard.
Yes, which we talked about earlier.
Because I'm like, I'm tired. I don't want to work out. But I'm like, it's like 30 minutes max. I can just, do this little workout and make myself feel better.
Mm-hmm.
And then especially at night, I'm trying to add in where ideally I would want to be reading before bed, but I'm rewatching Orange is the New Black.
Oh my God. Yes.
God. So I'm trying to make it where if I want a sweet little treat, I sit in my bed and I eat my sweet little treat. And then I'll pause my show and I'll go take a shower and not necessarily wash my hair, but nice little body shower, smelling nice.
Little something.
Lotion up and wash my face again, brush my teeth after my sweet treat, and then, go sit in bed and finish my show to however long I want to finish it. I try not to stay up later than 11 nowadays because Noah's waking up about between 6 and 7. So I'm like, okay, it's a decent amount. And I'm like, if I were working, I would be sleeping the same amount.
Yeah.
So I try to have that in my routine. So those are like the things I try to do for myself to try to keep me sane.
I love it. Like, I mean, I think it really starts with routine. It's just like, as long as you have like something to look forward to, makes a world of difference. I love that.
I don't know if I call working out looking forward to, but
no, but it's like, I don't know. It's a little motivational thing. I suppose.
It's like, okay, if I keep doing this, then in like 2 months' time, I'll feel better and look better. And
hell yeah.
I also am doing better at taking my vitamins.
I need to be better about that.
I take them every morning now.
Good for you, dude.
I know.
I love that. All right. My second to last question, I suppose, is just like thinking back to Megan of 10 years ago.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah. What would you want her to know about your life now? Because I'm thinking the Megan who was like, well, we already kind of addressed this, but it's like the Megan of 10 years ago was like, yeah, give it a month. And clearly, here we are.
Yeah, the Megan 10 years ago, I think would be, especially if you caught the Megan 10 years ago that was like, I give it a month, would be shocked to learn that like I'm married with a baby to that boy. And I think I got the ick with Nick. Like, that's why I said 1 month, because he was like, everyone was there and we slept over and everyone wore like basketball shorts and a t-shirt to bed. This boy wore pajama pants.
Oh my God, I totally didn't remember that.
I said, icky.
Can I tell the story?
Yeah,
okay. This was such a silly high school canon event, right? We lived in a pretty small town area, so people had a lot of land and there were a lot of parties. And if you listened to my way back episode with Nora Beck, there was a little bit of lore on this.
Nora.
I think Nora was there. I'm pretty sure Nora was there. We slept at Nora's house.
Yes, we slept at Nora's house.
Yeah.
And it was Nora's neighbor that threw the party.
Yep. So obviously, okay, small town, big properties. Cops are not getting called ever. So it was crazy. There were a lot of drunk teenagers running around being crazy. And we slept 30 people or so in Nora's basement.
I know there was like way too many people, and I think Nick and I like shared a sleeping bag. Like I didn't have one. Yeah,
and you guys were like a foot away from us.
Yeah,
and I remember you making fun of me the next morning because you were like, "Oh my God, you guys were making out all night," and I'm like, "Yeah, sorry."
I mean, Nick and I think we were kissing too, but like we definitely, it was brand new at that point. So
yeah, you got to do it. What do you know?
Yeah, so
that was insane. Oh, high school.
Wow, yeah. Me 10 years ago would just be so shocked because I got the ick, man.
Yeah. You were like, that night, you were like, oh, this boy's wearing pajama pants.
Well, no, it was that morning because remember we woke up and Nora's mom made breakfast for everyone.
Oh my God, and it was so good.
And it was yummy, but I was so sitting next to him. Everybody's just like, in their cute little jammies. The girls were in their cute little jammies and the boys were in their like basketball shorts and shirts.
Everyone's hungover.
Everyone's hungover, and here's Nick in his fucking PJ pants. And I'm like,
he packed for a little slumby.
He did. he packed for a slumby, and I was just like, oh. But if you guys now, like looking back on it, it's like now one of the more endearing things about Nick to me.
He's so prepared.
He's just prepared. He was a Boy Scout. but he's just so prepared for things, but then also just like doesn't give a fuck what people think.
So true. And that like literally that was true then and it's true now. And he's probably the least self-conscious person I know, and that is a good thing. Like he just truly is like, I'm doing me.
Yeah, he has his moments, and he's very, very selective about how vulnerable he is around certain people. Yeah. But yeah, he's very like, fuck it, like I'm just gonna live my life. You don't like my PJ pants? Fuck you.
Then fuck you. If you don't chew Big Red, then fuck you. I love it. Okay. You want to finish with We're Not Really Strangers?
Sure.
Little blast from the past. She knows how this game works, but if you don't and you would like to kind of follow along, I always use this as like a little journaling opportunity. So whip out your journal, take a minute to go find it if you need to. But we're going to discuss a good little healing question. Oh, I like this one, actually. I think I've maybe had this one on a previous episode, but let's get into it. So, how could you contribute to someone else's happiness today? Do that thing, big or small. But I'll just ask you first. How can you contribute to someone else's happiness today?
Well, I could get up and take care of Noah. So Nick didn't have to. It's actually a very triggering question, Erin. No,
oh, shit. I'm sorry. We can do another one.
No, I'm just playing. I think just like doing those small things for each other. Like I love doing small things for people. I have a lot of like acts of service in my love language too. So like giving people gifts or doing things for people is really how I like show my love, because I'm not great on being like, hey, I love you and all that. So
which is so ironic because both of our love languages are words of affirmation, but I feel like we're both like really bad at it.
I can't remember where that was on my thing, but like my biggest was acts of service.
Oh, okay.
So like acts of service, gift giving was my like least
same
to like receive, but like I think for me showing my love to somebody is gift giving, which is so
I don't know,
like weird to me.
Yeah, I don't actually know what my giving one is. We should do that after this.
We should, because every Christmas, I love to think about people and be like, what can I get them that they could use? Or like, what could I, like Nick's Father's Day gifts. I bought it and I was so excited. I was like, I did so good. And I gave it to him that day. I couldn't give it to him on Father's Day because I'm like, hey, you need to open it.
I need to give this to you.
Well, because I told Nick, I was like, do you want me to give it to you now or later? And he was like, well, later. And I was like, okay. And he's like, you want me to give it to me now? And I'm like, I do.
Oh, I'm horrible with that. Like, so I'm the same way where I'm just like, you know, the second that I get a present for somebody, it's usually Mikey. The second I get a present for Mikey, even if it's like months before whatever event, I'm just like, I got your birthday present today.
Yeah, me too.
But I'm not going to tell you what it is. And then the horrible thing, okay, this is just me also being like bad at planning and timing, but what's today, June 19th?
Yeah.
I just got my mom's Mother's Day gift in the mail yesterday.
When did you order it?
Honestly, okay, this is not entirely my fault. I ordered it like 4 days before Mother's Day, and some of the stuff got here like a week later, which yes is past Mother's Day, but that one took a little longer for some reason. Anyway, I'm gonna give it to her sometime this week, even though it's past Father's Day now. Oops.
Yeah, whatever.
Anyway, yeah, I like that answer.
That counts.
Yeah, so I think overall the thing we can do to contribute to other people's happiness is redo our love language quizzes.
Yeah,
and figure it out.
It's not a bad idea.
I think we should do that.
Everybody, you should do that.
Yeah,
especially if you're pregnant or expecting a child. Do your love language things so that way you and your partner can be like, oh my gosh, this is what my partner loves, and you can really lean on that in your first couple months of pregnancy and like newborn.
Hell yeah. Good send-off advice. Hell yeah. Well, do you want people to find you after this episode? Like, do you want people to reach out with questions or anything? I don't think you would necessarily get a ton, but
no, I mean, they can. My Instagram is just at Megan Nunes with 2 S's at the end.
Cool.
That's really like the only thing that I check frequently. I'm not really on X or Twitter, whatever it is.
Ew, yeah, no.
And Facebook, I feel like it's just for like my grandma.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you guys really want to reach out, you can reach out to me via Instagram. My Instagram is private, but
We'll accept.
We'll accept.
Well, not we. She will accept.
We'll accept.
Oh,
Just send me a DM and say you're from Erin's podcast.
Cool. Awesome. Well, thanks for chatting. I know this is a long time coming.
Yeah.
But this was
We've
fun.
been talking about it for a while. Hopefully I hit everything that you wanted to.
I think absolutely, and like more than that. But yay. Happy birthday, Noah. Happy maybe slightly early birthday, Noah. He's a year old. Oh my god. I remember when he was born. Fun fact.
Me too.
It was like 4 days or I don't know how long. Like a week to 4 days before Megan gave birth. We literally saw Barbie together.
Yeah.
How long was that after did you give birth?
Sure.
I feel like this is important to include.
It is important to.
We saw Barbie, and according to Megan, he loved it.
Oh my gosh, he moved the most I've ever felt when we were watching Barbie. I was like, yes, we love a feminist.
Oh my god.
But at the same time, have heard that like babies get really active right before they're born. So
Makes sense.
that makes sense, but I'm looking for the photo of me wearing my little pink fuchsia dress.
She was Midge. Is it Midge? Madge? I don't know.
Yeah.
Whoever pregnant Barbie was, she was pregnant Barbie, and it was really cute.
It says July 25th.
Okay, so then that would have been like 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
Seemed like,
I'm looking at the calendar.
Yeah, it seems like
lot
shorter than that.
It seemed like it was July 25th was a Monday. Oh, it was 2 weeks before. Yeah, 2 weeks.
Okay. Still, you were really pregnant.
Yeah.
Thanks y'all for listening. Don't forget to rate if you're listening on an app that allows you to do that. And I will see you in 2 more weeks. If you want a little bit more in the meantime, I also have a blog, same name. Link is in the show notes. If you want more from me, there's over 50 blog posts over there that you can go check out. So do that if you'd like. And thanks so much for being here. Love you and talk to you soon. Bye.